Hi, my name is Michaela, and I'm going to talk about my experience with education in Seoul, Korea at Konkuk University as a foreigner. The three main topics I'm going to talk about is the study culture between students, secondly, the grading system, and thirdly, odd experiences that I've had here. For my first topic, I'm going to talk about the differences between Konkuk University and my home university. One major thing I noticed between Konkuk or Korean students was the separation in the library and how quiet it was. Koreans are definitely separated in order for them to have private time with their studying in the library, and the library is very quiet. In addition, studying with other Koreans is not necessarily normal unless they're close friends. I was invited once to study with a few Korean girls, and we didn't do a lot of studying. We did a lot of chit-chatting, but it was still a lot of fun. The second time I offered for a Korean girl to go and study with me, and she was very shocked and surprised that I would offer that. And I was a little bit taken back. I said, I thought this would be just a normal thing, like, hey, we can study together. I also offered at one point to share my notes with somebody, and they were very shocked that I was willing to share my notes so openly. And I later on learned that that's not a common thing to do in Korea. Now, when comparing to the Netherlands, based off my experiences in the Netherlands, the libraries are a bit more open and there's a lot more talking that can be done, at least at my home university. There's an upper floor where students are able to talk more freely, and there's always a basement where it's expected to be dead silent in order for people to study. Desks are also, as you see in the image, a lot more open, and they don't have wall dividers unless you go, again, down to the quieter area. Also, students are willing to study with each other to the point where in a class group chat, one person might just message, hey, will anybody study with me? And even if you're not friends or you don't know that person very well, you'll still join. Sharing notes is also very common. I know that there was one student at my school who would sell his notes, and a lot of students bought his notes in order to pass the classes, but helping each other study is a very common thing in sharing notes and explaining it to each other as well, which I didn't find at Konkuk University. Here, my next topic is going to be on relative grading versus absolute grading. Relative grading means that students' marks or their grades actually depend on how they compare to other students in their class, while absolute grading is based on the exact amount of points that they received. So in order to get an A+, you'd have to have 10 out of 10. To get an A, you need 9 out of 10. And typically with absolute grading, there should not be curving or comparison or curving based off of other students. When comparing grades, Korea definitely uses the relative grading system because they have curved grades based off of other students and how they scored. They also have a quota/capacity for the amount of grades that they can give out. I know that Konkuk can give out around only 30% of students A's, I believe, and sometimes 30% B's, and then the rest is C or below. The portal also doesn't show your score. It, for some reason, also you can't figure out your average, and you don't receive the letter grade until the very end of the semester. For the Netherlands, there is normally not any assignments or homework, or based off of my experience, any assignments or homework. Instead, it's just one final exam for you to get those credits and how well you did. Here's an example from the Konkuk University portal. Where it doesn't show again a grade for the midterm, and then again in the second portal where you can't see the exact grade that you received. Here's an example from the Dutch results, where regardless of how you scored or how the students did, like on the left side, you can see that the students actually did worse than average. Next topic I'll be talking about are my odd experiences. One odd experience was a teacher asking me if I was willing to trade my grade for a lower one with a Korean student, so that way they could have a better score. Again, like I said earlier, studying with Korean students was a bit odd, and also the concept that I was told that it is impossible to fail a Korean class unless you do not show up. You should basically always pass a Korean class. Thanks so much for watching. Here are my sources.